Hi there, freelance friends. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me today. Today we have another episode of Let's Talk Tech. Today we're going to be discussing the importance of a good prompt and how freelancers can get better results from AI with a good prompt. Because if you're a freelancer using an AI tool like ChatGPT, Copilot, or Claude, you've probably had that frustrating experience where the AI gives you something completely off base from what you wanted. I know I have. Maybe the response was too generic, too formal, too long, or just missed the point entirely. But here's the thing. It probably wasn't the AI's fault. It was likely your prompt. Think about AI as an incredibly capable assistant who's willing to help you with anything, but needs very clear instructions to do their best work. So you'll find that the difference between getting mediocre results and getting genuinely useful output almost always comes down to how well you prompt. And as we keep mentioning, as a freelancer, your time is money. Learning to prompt effectively means you can get better results faster, which is going to directly impact your productivity and your bottom line. So let's break down what makes a good prompt and how you can apply this to your actual work. In my opinion, there are 4 essential elements to every good prompt. The first one being context. You need to be sure to tell the AI what it needs to know about the situation. Things like, who are you? What's the background? And what's the purpose of this task? Without context, the AI is just going to be guessing. With context, it can tailor its response to your specific needs. Next, you need a specific ask. What exactly do you want the AI to do? Be sure to be explicit. Help me with my email, for example, is pretty vague. Draft a follow-up email to a client who hasn't responded to my proposal in 2 weeks is a bit more specific and likely to get better results. Third, be sure to give details on the requested output. How long do you want the response to be? What type of format would you prefer? What about the tone, the structure? Should it include examples? Should it be formal or casual? The more specific you are about what you want the output to look like, the closer you'll get to something you can actually use. And last but not least is guardrails. What should the AI not do? What should it avoid? Are there constraints it needs to work within? This might include things like word count limits, topics to avoid, specific terminology to use or not use, or style preferences. So let's take a look at some real freelancer examples now. Bad versus good prompts. And let's see what happens. So first, let's look at an example for a content writer who needs blog ideas. Very common. Well, a poor prompt is going to be something along the lines of, give me some blog post ideas. Obviously, that's poor because there's no context about the industry, the audience, what the client's needs may be, or what kind of content is going to perform well with your audience. The AI is going to give you generic topics that probably won't fit your client's needs. In comparison, a good prompt would be something along the lines of, I'm writing blog content for a small business-to-business SaaS company that sells project management software to creative agencies. Their audience is creative directors and agency owners who are overwhelmed with managing multiple client projects. They want educational content that positions them as helpful experts, not salesy. Give me 8 blog post ideas that address common pain points this audience could face. Each idea should be actionable and specific, not generic advice. Avoid anything too technical or focused on features. Focus on solving business problems. Now, what makes that a good prompt? Well, it provides context. It defines the audience clearly. It specifies the content approach. It gives a specific number of post ideas that it would like. It describes the desired angle. It includes guardrails about what to avoid. Now, what about an example for a graphic design writer? Now, a poor prompt would be write a proposal for a client. You already know why it's bad. There's zero information about the project, the client, your relationship, what's being proposed, or what the proposal should include. But a good prompt could be something along the idea of, I'm a freelance graphic designer, and I need to write a proposal for a potential client who runs a local yoga studio. We had a 30-minute discovery call where she mentioned she needed a rebrand, new logo, color palette, and brand guidelines, because her current branding feels dated and doesn't reflect the calm, modern vibe she wants. Her budget's around $3,500. Write a professional but warm proposal that includes a project overview, scope of work broken into phases, a timeline, approximately 4 to 6 weeks, pricing breakdown, my process, and next steps. And keep this all under 800 words. Make the tone appropriate for her business. Basically, approachable and zen, not corporate. Don't include a long introduction about who I am, since I've already spoken to her. Now, why is that a better prompt? Well, because it gives rich context about the client and their needs. It's very specific about what sections to include, gives a budget and a timeline constraint, and it also defines the tone clearly, includes a word count limit, and has a guardrail about what not to include. Now, what about an example for a virtual assistant drafting a client email? Well, you can probably already guess the poor prompt is something along the lines of write an email to my client. And obviously, it's poor because what's your relationship with the client? What's the purpose? And what tone would you like me to use? Well, a good prompt could be something along the lines of, I'm a virtual assistant and I need to send an email to a client letting her know that I'll be unavailable for 3 days next week due to a family commitment. This client is a busy executive that I've worked with for more than 6 months. Now, I've already arranged for another VA from my network to cover any urgent tasks. Please write a brief professional email that explains my absence from November 18th to 20th, reassures her that coverage is in place, introduces the backup virtual assistant, and gives her contact information and background. Also, please confirm that I'll be back and fully available on November 21st. Keep it under 200 words. Tone should be professional, but personable. So why is that a better prompt? Well, it establishes the relationship and context, and it clearly outlines what information needs to be communicated. It gives a specific length and tone. It includes a guardrail about not over apologizing. Now, what about a social media manager creating post copy? A poor prompt would be write a social media post. Obviously, the AI tool doesn't know which platform, anything about your brand, what the goal of the post would be, what the topic of the post should be. It's just a poor prompt. So what's a better prompt? Something along the lines of, I'm managing social media for a sustainable fashion brand that sells minimalistic, ethically made basics. Write an Instagram caption for a carousel post featuring our new organic cotton t-shirts in 5 colors. The audience is environmentally conscious millennials and Gen Z who value quality over quantity. The post should highlight that these shirts are made from 100% organic cotton and produced in a fair trade certified facility. Please emphasize versatility and timeless and include a soft CTA to shop the collection. Make the post feel authentic and values driven, not preachy. Also, use 2 to 3 relevant hashtags. Now, why is this good? Well, it specifies the platform. It provides brand context and audience information. It outlines key messages, defines the brand voice clearly, and also includes some technical requirements like the hashtag count. Now, let's discuss some common prompting mistakes that many freelancers make. The first one is being too vague. Again, something like, help me with this project doesn't give the AI enough to work with. Get specific. Next, assuming the AI knows your content. Unless you have personalized your AI tool to the specific content relating to your prompt, the AI tool doesn't know who your client is, what industry you work in, or what you've been working on. So you need to provide that context every time in that situation. Also, not specifying the output format. This is very common. Now, if you're looking for bullet points, say so. If you need 3 paragraphs, mention that. If you need a specific structure, be sure to describe it. Next, forgetting to include information about the tone. The AI can write in many different ways, and you want that tone to reflect your actual tone. So be sure to specify if you want it to write casually, formally, playfully, seriously. Just let it know which one you want. Next, asking for too much at once. Please break down complex requests into multiple prompts to experience the most success. Basically, get the outline first and then flesh out the sections. It usually produces better results than trying to generate everything in one shot. This sometimes causes the AI tool to get confused and not produce what you're looking for. Last is not iterating. If the first output isn't quite right, you don't necessarily have to start over. You can tell the AI what needs to change. You could tell it it needs to be more casual, that you need to cut the word count to 300 words, or that it needs to add specific examples. Now, a question that I often get asked is, how do I build my prompting skills? Well, there are a few different tips that I can provide. One is that you can start off with a prompt template, which is basically just using the structure that we discussed. You can adapt something that basically gives your role and context, the specific task, the output requirements, and the tone and constraints. Be sure to include all of those, and you're likely to experience more success. Secondly, and we've talked about this before on other podcast episodes, that you should really be saving your best prompts into a prompt repository, because when you get great results, you'll want to save that prompt for future use to save you time. Build a library of effective prompts for tasks that you do regularly. It is a huge time saver. Next, work on iterating and refining your prompts. Basically, think of your prompts as having a conversation with the AI tool like it was a person. Your first prompt is going to get you maybe 70% of the way there, but you need to utilize follow-up prompts oftentimes to refine exactly what you need to get you all of the way there. Additionally, you can study good prompts. They're going to be teachers for you. If you pay attention when you see great AI outputs and really think about what the prompt included, you're likely to have more success when you replicate that process. And then last, experiment. Try different approaches to the same task and see what works best for your specific needs and what works best in that specific tool. We've also discussed that at length in previous podcasts too. Be sure to check out those episodes if you think they will benefit you. So, what is the return on investment of better prompting? Why is it worth investing your time and energy at becoming a better prompt engineer? Well, let's be honest. As a freelancer, everything comes down to time and results. Better prompting means that you're going to have to spend less time editing AI output because it's closer to what you actually wanted and you get it on your first try. Also, there's higher quality starting points for your work. And faster turnaround times, which is really key when juggling multiple client projects. Also, you'll probably get more consistent results as you get better with your prompt techniques. So that really helps across similar tasks. And last but not least, less frustration with the AI tools. Isn't that something that we would all love to have? So basically, think about it this way. If you spend an extra 2 minutes crafting a detailed prompt, but you end up saving 15 minutes of editing and revising the output, you've just made a 13-minute gain. Over the course of the week with multiple AI-assisted tasks, how many hours can you save? It's definitely worth thinking about. So, in summary, the AI tools are incredibly powerful, as we all know, but they're only as good as the instructions you give them. As a freelancer, learning to prompt effectively is a skill that directly impacts your productivity and the quality of your work. I really recommend using this 4-part framework: the context, the specific ask, the output details, and the guardrails. It will give you a structure to work from. But of course, the real skill does come from practice. The more you work with the AI, the better you'll get at knowing exactly what information to include and how to structure your requests. So stop settling for mediocre AI outputs and start prompting with intention. Your future self, along with your clients, will thank you. Thanks again for tuning in. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe or share it with a friend who might benefit from this. Thanks. Have a good day. See you the next time. Bye-bye.